Welcome in. It's the Bold Take, and we are pleased to be joined by CBS Sports' Pete Prisco. He's going to talk no Tebow. It's Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence. I just wanted to say Trevor Lawrence a bunch of times before we started. So, Pete, we got you on here because you responded to Dillard's tweet about Tebow. So, what's the rant on Tebow? Let's have it.
He stinks. I mean, let's be honest about it. You guys live in Jacksonville. You know, when I did my radio show, how often I said that time and time again, and I never came off of it. I mean, never, not once did I ever think he was going to be any good. And I actually had guys in the league tell me, you're the only guy in the whole media or anybody who stayed true to what you thought about him. And this thing's a joke. Why? The Jaguars have built up a bunch of goodwill in the last 3 months. You hire Urban Meyer, you spend money in free agency, add guys to the team, and then you get the number 1 overall pick and you get Trevor Lawrence. And on the same day you're going to pick him, this leaks out that you even gave this guy a tryout. Look, the tight end position isn't very good, but you could get 3 or 4 other guys off the street maybe better than Tebow is playing tight end. So I just think it's a mistake on their part. He's not going to make the team, and I just don't understand why you would take all the goodwill that you built up in 3 months and ruin it by bringing his name into the equation.
Yeah. What do you think about him playing like a H-back fullback? Like if he's just in there blocking, if he's a tight end, or if their offense is more running oriented?
I put on the tape to watch his, this is how psychotic I am, to watch his punt protection snaps the other day when he was with the Jets and he was getting run over. I mean, he's not physical. He was a physical offensive player who could, when he tried to run over people, but being a physical blocker is an entirely different thing. The other thing is, and people kill me for this, there's no suddenness to his game. He doesn't make anybody miss. He was one of those guys that tried to run over people. So, and he's 34 or 33, going to be 34. He hasn't played the decade. It just doesn't make any sense at all to me. And then the dumbest thing is, they're going to bring him in for leadership. Nobody leads if you stink. Nobody. And I've been in many a locker room where player number 51, if he dared try to say something at a key moment, the rest of them looked at him and said, "Who the hell are you?" And so it doesn't work. And the other part is, I think it was one of the guys in Denver tweeted out, we were around when Tebow was around. He'll take the attention off of Trevor Lawrence, the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence. Well, if Trevor Lawrence can't handle the pressure and the attention of playing in Jacksonville, then you drafted the wrong guy. So there's no reason for him to be on the roster, and there's no reason to even bring him in. Everybody says there's no risk. Well, the risk is there's taking a spot for maybe somebody else. And that's the stupidity of it. And I think Urban Meyer made a mistake here.
So do you think there's a chance with the negative backlash that's come from it all that they don't sign at all, or do you think it's too late for that?
No, I think because it's split that they're still going to give it consideration. I'm telling you, I got it half and half. And you guys know, you live in Jacksonville. When I was doing that radio show, guys from the West Side would call up and threaten to come over and kick my ass waiting outside the stadium. I mean, outside the radio station. So there's a loyal following for Tim Tebow. But sell jerseys? Okay, if you're a diehard Jaguar fan, why the hell would you buy his jersey? Seriously, when you could buy Trevor Lawrence's jersey and you know it's going to be good for the next decade.
My rebuttal is those guys that used to threaten to come beat your ass are probably the ones that are going to buy the jerseys.
And they'll have a jersey walking around with Tebow. And what number is he going to wear? Right?
I think if the whole thing was like a jersey sales publicity stunt, like they don't even want him to make the team. They just want to sign him right now, sell a bunch of jerseys, and then, not even sign him to the team or sign him to the team, but not even have him make the 53. That makes a little.
How many jerseys do you think they would sell? Seriously, I'm being dead serious. 1,000?
Easily, I'd say.
Oh, no. I think Jacksonville's evolved in a lot of ways, even since I lived there 3 years ago, where there's more people moving down from the Northeast. And so, no, I don't believe that. Even if you were a Tebow college football fan, which there are many, and I give them credit, he was a great college football player. If you're a Jaguar fan and a Gator fan, why would you buy a Tebow teal jersey when you could buy the Trevor Lawrence jersey?
Yeah, I think at a certain point, Pete, he's become such a polarizing figure, and he has been for a long time, right? But you've got those people that you mentioned, the guys, the Larrys and the Moes that used to call up from the West Side and yell at you. and the random people that stood around downtown with, Tebow, why not a few years ago and all those things. But it's almost like the subsect of people that are huge Tebow fans, every time people like you or detractors or anybody that says, hey, he's not any good or they shouldn't have signed him, it almost like it gives them more power. You know what I mean? Like they become more resolved to this guy, nobody likes him. He just needs a chance. And I think that's where the frustrating part for a lot of the diehard Jaguar fans comes in, is that now we're having this conversation about a guy who's the 90th guy maybe on the roster, right? Like, and I understand that frustration. We've had a lot of our listeners, a lot of people we interact with who say, well, why do we need that distraction right now? Right? We think about all the good things we have, and now they're inviting this distraction in. Do you think that is a little bit of, obviously because him and Urban have that relationship, do you think that's naivety on Urban's part as a first-time NFL coach?
Yeah, a little bit. And I heard Urban's explanation the other day about how the coaches worked him out and they were raving about him and everything else. Look, there's a million guys who are in great shape and will look good in the workout. That's an entirely different thing. So, yeah, I think he's doing him a favor. And this is like, when he hired the strength and conditioning coach, he wasn't ready for that sort of backlash. And so this is a mistake. And they haven't signed him yet, right? It's not done yet.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
We'll see how it plays out, but I think if you sign him, it's a major mistake because you're taking away a chance to get another tight end, but B, you're also putting too much focus on him rather than what should be the good things about this team, and that's Trevor Lawrence.
Definitely.
So let's move on from the Tebow crap. What do you think is the next step for Minshew?
Working at a deli somewhere.
Yes, dude.
No, I'm kidding. I think he's a backup at best in this league, and I don't even know if he's a number 2 quarterback. And here's why: he's competitive. We know that, and he wasn't a great teammate. I don't know. You guys have heard the stories. He's not. You ever see the play when he scores when he runs in one of those games, and not one guy goes to him? Mm-hmm. That tells you a lot about a quarterback. Nobody went to him. And, so I don't think he was well-liked in the locker room, and he's a competitive guy. So he's not going to really be a good backup, which is why I'm surprised he's not gone yet. You don't want him in that room with Lawrence. You just don't. And that's why, for me, I think they got to try and pedal him. If they don't pedal him, get rid of him. What do you guys think? I mean, you think he can? I don't think he can play.
If they could get anything for him, they would have already got it, right?
Right. Which is, again, I go back to the deli. Maybe they can get a roast beef sandwich for him.
No, I love it. So do you think it's as simple as it looks? Because for me, when a team plays with, single high safety or a lot of the defensive Jags have been playing in the past, that's more of where he has his success. He can move around in the pocket, find that, that one player who got in behind the play and make a play. Whereas if a defense plays something very simple like cover 2, he shuts down like it's, some trigonometry in 11th grade. Is it really that simple? Because it looks that simple when I watch him.
I heard Jay Gruden didn't want him playing at all. That's what I heard. He didn't understand the offense, and it was troubling to him. And look, he made some of those the offensive line didn't play great last year, but he made those tackles at times even look worse. They were holding the ball, leaving clean pockets when there were clean pockets. He just doesn't have a great feel. I always call guys like him the accident. When they get outside, they make a play, but they leave 2 on in the pocket that they should have made. And so you don't play the position like that. So look, he's a career backup, and Minshew Mania caught fire, and the long hair and the jean shorts and the whole deal. But let's be real. He's not a starting quarterback in the league.
That stuff just proves that Jacksonville has the fan power to make stuff happen. We just need a little bit of success.
I'm a big believer in the fans in Jacksonville. And as a member of the national media, I get so angry when I hear the crap about not selling tickets and everything. And I always explain it this way. When I was covering the team in the early days and they were good, they sold out every ticket in the place. But it was the wine and cheese crowd. You guys were kids. How old are you guys? 28, 29, 30, 31? You were kids. You didn't go. You didn't buy tickets. Well, now you buy tickets. Now you're the diehard fan base. And this is the group that's going to fill up that stadium as they get better and better. And then the wine and cheese crowd will eventually come back, and you're going to have the place packed, and it's going to be a demand for tickets. Jacksonville could be Seattle-like. If the Jaguars win with Trevor Lawrence consistently, that place will become a lot like Seattle. It'll be hard to get a ticket. It'll be loud. It'll be nasty, and they'll be relevant. And I really believe for a long time, Seattle was a terrible place. They didn't win. They weren't good. Nobody was going to the games. I mean, yeah, you can actually have crazy fans in that place. And I think that's what Trevor Lawrence will do for the program.
So do you think Jacksonville can grow enough to kill the London thing?
Eventually, I do.
Help us kill it, Pete, right now.
I'm not a big fan of that. I'll be honest with you. I understand it with why they needed to do it for to generate the revenue. And it really helps from that standpoint. But again, if 5 years from now they have one Super Bowl and Trevor Lawrence is playing at MVP level, you're not going to need to go anywhere else. You're going to sell all the tickets you need there. You're going to have all the sponsors you need. You're going to sell all the premium seats. There will be no need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
You got to win.
Yeah. Well, and we've had that contention for a long time. I mean, when I spoke with a reporter from the New York Times a while back because he was doing a Trevor Lawrence story, Urban Meyer story, and he was asking just the kind of the temperature of the fan base, and we talked a lot about how there's this like crazy transition that's happened here because of COVID, because of the worst season in franchise history. Because if you go back to this time last year or a little bit before, when Shad was talking about taking 2 games, I mean, the fan base was ready to riot. The local diehard fans here were frustrated. Now, I mean, it's amazing what a terrible season will do, getting it, lucking into a franchise quarterback, a potential generational quarterback, having that opportunity that a marquee coach for the first time ever really wants to come here. So the fan base is completely flipped. And I think Shad really lucked out with that in a lot of ways. And I think it's all of our hope that he takes that luck, that stroke of luck, in that we really build something going forward. And I think that's going back to the Tebow thing. That's sort of the frustrating part of this is we felt like we were on the right path. And then, so I understand that frustration from a lot of the fans out there. And, it's I think we're on the precipice of doing something really special, providing Trevor's that guy. So I guess the question is,
you're right. And not just for the football team. Dare I say that Trevor Lawrence can be what Peyton Manning was to Indianapolis in terms of what he did to that place. Look, that stadium is old. Let's face it. They need a new stadium. They need to renovate it. They're going to build a practice facility, like maybe just north of where Lot J is for, they're going to buy some. I've heard they might buy those houses up there and knock some of them down and build a practice facility over there. So you're going to have their own practice facility, which they need to have. You can't have a facility on public property. Any guy can go stand in the parking lot and wait for guys. You can't have that nowadays. So I think they're going to build a new facility. They're going to build a new stadium. But this is all things that he can help do. Lot J will eventually get done. Maybe they'll develop the shipyards, and downtown will be bustling, and people will want to come downtown and take an Uber. You can bop from 6 to 7 bars and restaurants. That's what a good quarterback and a good team can do if they can win a Super Bowl or 2, and I think he can.
Yeah, I make that same analogy all the time about Peyton Manning because I've had conversations. I've been to a lot of away games up in Indianapolis, and I've had conversations with bartenders who have worked downtown down there for 15, 20 years, and they're like, we weren't even open on Sundays before Peyton really took off. And so now you look at what that has done to that downtown, to that franchise, to that city. I think that is the hope here. In your opinion, how likely is Trevor Lawrence to be that guy? I mean, what's it?
Very.
Yeah.
He's by far the whole thing with Zach Wilson's close to him. Remember that garbage in the lead up to the draft? No, he's not. This kid is generational. He's, everything that any of the other quarterbacks can do, he can do. He can move. He's big. He's strong. He's got a good arm. There is nothing he can't do. He will be a star in this league. And you talk about Elway, Luck, him. Those are the kind of guys you're talking about in that vein. So, yeah, I think he's going to be a star, and I think they're going to win titles. My only concern is Urban's a first-time coach in the NFL. So how does he relate to the NFL player? Because I was there when Coughlin didn't relate to him for a while and had to change his ways. You have to be careful with that. So that's a little bit of a concern, but he's smart enough, I think, to allow his coaches to coach. He's not really a guy that gets down and dirty on a regular basis. He's more of an overseer. So I think he's going to allow his coaches to coach, which, becomes what will Bevel and the gang do for the offense. And that's, I think, one of the interesting questions.
Okay. All right, Pete. I know we got to get you out of here. There was one last thing we wanted to ask you. We wanted to know if, on behalf of Jags Twitter, if each of us could pick one person for you to unblock on Twitter.
Send it to me and I'll unblock them.
All right. Nice.
Let's go.
All right, Pete.
And maybe figure out why I blocked them, because usually it was something nasty.
Okay, we'll try. We'll try to only make it for people who weren't too bad.
Do you have one in mind? And why
no. We got to do some research. We need to research.
You, by the way, I have 2,300 blocked. I found that out yesterday. I was doing Part of My Take podcast, and they wanted to know, and I didn't even know you could find out. And those guys said, "Oh yeah, you can." And I looked it up, and I have 2,300 blocked.
That's amazing.
Hey, look, I usually don't block you unless you say something nasty to me.
Okay.
Like there was a couple Tebow cultists that got it this week because they were being nasty. So
they passed through the filter last time around.
Yeah, they might have made it, but this time they got it, so I got them.
All right.
Well, yeah, if you guys send it to me on Twitter and tell me why they were blocked, I'll unblock them.
Okay. Well, let's close it with this, Pete, before you go. Very last thing. In your opinion, best Priscoism on Twitter, is it buy punk, or is it you're entitled to your wrong opinion? You're
entitled to your wrong opinion.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I figured it was that.
Yeah.
I figured.
That's the one. And then don't forget, don't draft running backs in the first round, and the Jaguars violated it.
I know. We didn't even get to that. Maybe next time.
Yeah. Next time. You got it.
Appreciate it, Pete.
All right, guys.
We appreciate you, man. Hey, there's one thing I've always wanted to say to you, Pete. See ya.
See you. See you guys.
Thank you, Pete. See you, man. It was awesome.
Man.